raise that a little bit. Okay. Okay, Gene, you told me your name, Eugene Perry,
Yeah,
and you told me your birth date, and that was August the
29.
29th of
22.
1922.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, keep that with your stuff. Now, that says that
Okay.
on this date, we were interviewed, and you are on tape 34.
Okay.
Okay, and that's at the Portsmouth Public Library in Portsmouth, Ohio. So 100 years from now, when your greats find that, they'll go down and look at you. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
I don't know if it'll be around that long, but
Well, we're going to try. And Gene, where were you born?
I was born in Portsmouth on 6th Street.
Born.
And we moved up to Wheelersburg when I was 2 years old. And I went to school and graduated from Wheelersburg.
And that's on Burke's Lane.
Burke's
You
Lane,
told me
yeah.
there.
You know where Hayport turns out
Yes.
there, or keep it going on, that's what they call Burke's Lane, goes to the river.
Okay.
My first house on the left there, but it isn't there anymore.
That house is not there anymore.
It's gone.
Was it across the tracks or
Yeah,
on
it
this
was,
side?
it was across the tracks,
Across the
between the
track
river
there.
and the tracks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long did you live there?
Well, moved there when I was 2, that'd be 24. Got me to thinking now.
You went.
I lived there till I went in the service, I guess,
Okay.
as far as I can remember.
Okay. What
As long
school
as
did you go to?
Wheelersburg.
Wheelersburg High School?
Graduated there, yeah.
What year did you graduate?
1940,
1940.
long time ago.
That's a few years back.
Yeah.
And you said you knew my dad. Were you and he good friends?
Yeah, Carl and I were real good friends. Yeah, we run around together. Yeah.
And you used to double date and everything,
Yeah,
didn't you?
right.
And you, therefore you knew my mom too and everything?
Yeah, I knew your mom.
Great.
Yeah.
What would people do when they double dated back then? Where would you, you didn't have drive-in theaters, did you?
No,
Nothing
but
like that.
they were restaurants around and places like that that we'd go to. I remember going to the old Millbrook Lake restaurant down there. It used to be down there. It's gone now. Everything's gone there now. In fact,
Okay.
that used to be an amusement park years ago.
Did you ride the rides? And when you say amusement park, would they have
It
merry-go-round?
was gone time I grew up.
Oh,
It
okay.
was gone.
Okay. That's too bad, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
They could probably use that now.
yeah. All right.
And you graduated in 1940 from Wheelersburg High School. Is that the school that was on the hill, or is that the school that was built down in Wheelersburg?
That was school that was built down in Wheelersburg where the Cook Hardware is.
Yeah.
And we were the first graduating class
You
out of
were?
that school.
Okay.
Yeah, first graduated, and it's long gone.
It's gone too, isn't it?
Yeah, but I went to school where you went up all the steps up
Right.
there.
That used to be a high school, and then
Yeah.
they turned, I guess, like a junior school.
Yeah.
And where did you go to elementary school, like first grade, second grade, third?
The first and second grade, I went to the Bird. And the old building is still there yet. It's
Really?
behind the Methodist church. They've redone it and everything.
Okay.
A few rooms that,
That's the Red Brick Methodist Church in Wheelersburg?
yeah.
And there's a school, there's a building behind that
There's a building behind it,
that was the school.
yeah.
Is
right.
it a church now too itself?
No, it's still, the building's still there.
What
I
is
don't
it
know
used
what's
for?
in it.
Okay.
I have no
Maybe
idea.
story. Who owns that?
I don't know. It's getting up close to where the fire trucks are at and that up there, and there's a sort of a little creek in
Okay,
there.
okay. Red Brick.
It's a two-story building, I think. or
Maybe
three.
we're thinking about a different, are we talking about the Methodist church that is beside Harrison Funeral Home?
No.
No,
No,
okay,
we're
let's
talking
get
about
back.
the Baptist church.
The Baptist church.
Yeah.
The whole new, brand new Baptist church.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That used to be a white church with a steeple, and then they tore it down and
Yeah.
remodeled and
I
everything.
think so.
Okay, so I'm wondering now where, and the school that you went to is in a building behind that church, or near that?
Yeah, similar.
Okay.
It fronts on the street that goes up by it.
Okay.
fronts on
I'm
the
gonna look
street.
for that, okay. That might be school board property or something.
Well, could be,
What kind of car did you drive? Did you have a car of your own?
well, the first car I had was an old A Model 4 with a rumble seat.
Oh, really? I'd die with that now. wouldn't you? What did your dad do?
And he was a brickyarder. He worked at General Refractors there over the viaduct in Portsmouth.
Okay.
And before that, I think after that he worked at the mill. He worked at the mill during the war where they made bombs and stuff like that.
In Portsmouth?
Yeah, in Portsmouth.
And
Steel mill there.
what was his name?
John Perry.
Perry.
Yeah.
Okay, now let me ask you this question. What were his parents' names?
Joseph Perry and Florence Perry.
Florence Perry. What was Florence's maiden name, do you know?
I think Hilger, I'm not sure.
Think what?
Hilger,
Hilger.
I'm not sure on that.
Where were they from?
They were from out in Kentucky, around Grayson, Olive Hill, Carter City, and in that area. They was raised there. My parents were raised there.
In Kentucky?
Uh-huh.
Now, what was your mother's name?
McGlone.
McGlone.
She was McGlone, yeah.
Her first name is what?
Ida.
Ida McGlone. And then what were her parents' names? What?
Jane,
Huh? Yeah, I'm filming now. Sure, come on in.
James McGlone.
James McGlone.
And I don't know, I never was with them very much. And like,
Okay.
when we visited, we went to Dad's people.
Okay.
Never went to Mom's people. And she had a big family. She had, I think, 7 sisters.
Oh, really?
And 2 brothers.
That's a big. Well, how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had 1 brother and 1 sister. My sister's still living. My brother's dead.
What is your sister's name?
Maddox, Janet Maddox.
And your brother's name
John Robert Jr. Called him Red.
Called him Red?
He had red hair.
When did he pass away?
42.
1942? Was he in the war?
No. Yes, he was.
He died in the war? Or-
No. He was in the service. He was in the Marine Corps down at Camp Lejeune.
Mhm.
And he married and went to Washington, D.C. and lived.
Mhm.
And he got involved, I think, gambling and stuff like that in
Oh,
Washington, D.C.
really?
And one day he climbed up in the back of a pickup truck and turned the exhaust in. That was it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So he went out on his own?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, he married Betty Shope from McDermott.
Hmm.
And she got pregnant and she went into convulsions. And they tried to save her and the babies both, and they lost them all.
Oh, my.
They were twin boys,
Is that right?
perfect boys, you know.
Oh, it's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame. And did
She had each one of them in her arms, and she's in the casket.
Did he kill himself after that?
Yeah, after that,
Well, then, you married.
Yeah.
And what's your wife's name?
yeah. Now,
Yes.
Imogene
Eugene
Collier Perry.
Okay. Collier was her maiden.
No, Ingalls was her maiden name.
Ingalls was her maiden.
She's related to them Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie.
She is really.
Yeah.
Well, she's famous, isn't she?
Or you had them.
She doesn't want to talk about it. We'll get it later. And you have 2 children,
Yeah, I had 2 children,
Okay.
Connie and Mark.
Connie, and is your present wife their mother?
No.
Okay.
No.
Where is
We had
their?
no children. I've only been married to this one, be 4 years in October.
4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was telling him about.
You're telling about being
your maiden name.
related to Ingalls.
Yeah, they traced it back.
Okay. You've been out on the prairie?
I've got that book in there on Ingalls, Follow the River.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all about- It's some book when you read what that woman went through, getting back out of the Indians.
They were rough back then, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
Rough and tough. And now Connie has how many children?
She has 3. And she has 2 girls and a boy.
Okay, what are their names?
Her oldest one is Sherry,
Sherry.
and her middle one is Sean, and her younger one is Heather.
And they have children.
Yes.
What are their names? No, you didn't know there'd be a test, did you?
No, Sherry, what, honey?
We got Heather.
Sherry, her oldest one, has 2 boys and 2 girls.
Okay.
And her middle one, Sean, he's in a service overseas in Italy. He's never married.
Okay. Is he in the Air Force?
No, he's on a sub chaser,
Oh, really? He's in the Navy?
Navy, and they take care of all the subs.
Oh, I see.
And it's a big ship. It surprised me. I went down to visit him when he was in the States here in Charleston,
I see.
and they have 1,500 personnel on that ship.
It's a big ship.
You know.
And Heather, is she married and has
Heather
children?
is not married, but she does have a baby.
What do those kids do? I mean, we've got one in the Navy and...
Sherry is married. She's a homebody.
Okay.
Her husband works at, I think, Honda or Toyota up there. And Heather works up at this Star Workshop up here.
Oh, really?
Franklin Furnace.
Okay.
Where they take these children in.
Okay.
Rehabilitate them.
Okay.
Work with them.
Good.
She's up there.
Now, Connie has a son, Mark. And,
No, Sean.
Sean.
Yeah.
And you have a son, Mark.
All right,
That's
son.
what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Now, does he have children?
John? Or-
Mark.
Mark, my boy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has children.
Okay.
He has 3.
He has 3 children.
Yeah, they each have 3.
Where is he?
He's on the west side. He works up at Pepsi. He worked where I did for years.
Now, he has 3 children, and what are their names?
His oldest one's name's Kevin.
Kevin?
He's in Columbus. And Kevin has 3 children.
Okay.
His middle one is Melissa, and she has a baby.
Mm-hmm.
His younger one is Jeremiah, and he has a baby.
Okay, gracious. Okay, that's Kevin.
Kevin, yeah.
Okay, now what's another child?
Melissa,
Mark has 3 children.
yeah.
We got Kevin,
Yeah.
Melissa,
Jeremiah.
and Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in any case, then, you've got a pretty big family. You graduated from high school, and then what did you do? Go to work? It'd be 1940,
Well,
so that would be before the war.
I got into a program called the NYA. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
NYA is new.
National Youth Association, something like that, for young people to learn a trade.
Mhm.
And I worked in a little shop on 5th Street, down below Chillicothe at that time. And I tried to learn woodworking, and from there, I might have got into that before I got out of school. And from there, I went to Patterson Field and got a job as a machinist, and worked up there.
That'd be up in Dayton.
Up in Dayton, out in Fairfield.
Okay.
There's Patterson and Wright Field.
You remember when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
Not really. I
Okay.
remember hearing about it.
I was wondering what you were doing when you heard that the Japanese had bombed
I
Pearl
have no
Harbor.
idea what I was doing.
When did you decide to go into service?
Well, that was in 41
Mm-hmm.
when they bombed Pearl Harbor. The next November, I went into the service.
What was your date that you went in? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was November the 3rd, as far as I know,
1942.
1942. It would be on the discharge.
Probably on there.
Yeah.
To say. November 3rd, that's when you got out in 45. Okay. But you went in around November the 3rd, 1942. Did you go down and join the Marines as well?
Yeah, yeah, I volunteered. I wasn't drafted.
What was your rank when you got out?
Sergeant when I got out.
When were you discharged? Now, that would be on there.
Yeah, November. I went in
November the 3rd,
got out.
1945.
Been there 3 years to the day.
Yeah, it was. And so you got out as a sergeant.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Where did you
sergeant.
go to basic? Where did you do your
Paris
basic?
Island.
Paris Island.
Took my training.
And what was that? How long was that? 8 weeks, 13 weeks, something?
I have no idea.
After you did that, where did you go?
Went to Cherry Point, North Carolina.
That's nearby.
That's the Air Force Base, Marine Air Corps.
How'd you end up in the Marine Air Corps? Is that something you wanted to do, or they told you?
We took some tests, as well as I can remember, in the Marine Corps, and they went on these tests. And our whole platoon, I don't remember how big it was, but it was a pretty good size, bunch of men. And according to them tests, that's where they put us. Some went to Baker School, some went in the infantry, some went in the Air Corps, different places. And, I was in the Air Corps, and it tickled me to death. I always felt if I got it in the air, that would be it. If I stayed on the ground, I might get wounded.
You might get hurt down there. Okay. And then, what did they teach you to do?
Well, they taught me how to spot airplanes. I had to identify all airplanes, even German airplanes and that, but mostly Japanese airplanes. I had to be able to just get a glance at them and identify them.
Were you able to do that? Can a person do that?
Yeah. And then they taught me Morse code back in them days.
Can you still do that today?
No, I can remember a few numbers,
Okay.
that's about it.
All right. Now, did you fly? Did you get to fly?
I have flown some, yeah, but I never
When you were in the
approached
Marines?
to land or anything.
When
yeah.
you were in the Marines, you
Yeah,
flew some?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'd fly cross country and he'd let me fly a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were not a pilot. What was your designation? What were you called?
Radio gunner.
Radio gunner.
Radio gunner.
What kind of planes did you fly?
SPDs, Douglas Douglas.
What is that?
I'll
You
show
got a picture?
I've got a picture right here.
Flying boat.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's
Oh,
it
that's
right
it right there. Okay.
Now,
Mhm.
the pilot sat here and I sat back here.
Oh, I see.
Now you see these, them perforations in that?
Right.
Now them are diving flaps. When you go into a dive, you have to open that to slow yourself down. Because you get such speed, you can't pull out of your dive.
Why do you have those holes in there?
That's the reason them holes are in there. When you open them up, it slows them down.
Okay.
It's the air go through them and slows them down.
Okay. And that's called
SBD.
SBD.
Douglas Dauntless. It's a scout bomber.
Douglas what?
Douglas Dauntless.
Dauntless. A scout bomber. Okay. Here you are in the hangar.
Yeah. Yeah, I went up in it. There's only 5 of them left out of, I think, 1,500 that were manufactured. A bunch of them's on the bottom of, I believe, Lake Michigan.
A bunch of them are on the bottom.
Yeah.
How do
They set up a platform out in Lake Michigan
Mhm.
and learned these boys how to land on carriers. They had to land on that.
Sometimes they
So,
didn't.
There's a bunch of them. And they just raised one up here recently, not too long ago.
Did you, I bet they're up at Wright-Patterson Air Force Museum. Have you been up there?
No, they're not up
They're
there. You'll find them at Pensacola, the Navy Museum down there. And there's 1 or 2 down in Texas. Confederate Air Force at one time had one.
Okay. Who's this fellow right here? Who are these people?
I don't remember that guy's name. This guy's name was Price and Standifer and Dowd. And I don't know them guys. There's Emery and Price, and that's me. Now here, I was married before I got out of the service. Here's me and my wife, and this is, one of them's Price and his wife, and Emery and his wife.
Emery's kind of a cut-up, isn't he? He's got a little thing on his head there.
Yeah.
Kind of a character.
Yeah.
When's the last time you saw my dad? When you were on leave, I assume, or something like that?
No, I never saw your dad after
you
you
departed?
got done dating and that. I went, well, I went to work up to Patterson Field. I came home every weekend.
Mhm.
I must have seen him on the weekends when I come home. And I'd say about 19 40 or so in there. 41 would have been the last time I saw him. In fact, I never knew that he went into service or anything.
Oh, really?
Until somewhere along the line, I heard that he got killed in Germany.
Cherry Point, you were trained as a radio operator gunner.
Yeah,
What kind of gun did you have?
30 caliber, twin 30s. And the way I was situated there, I had a seat, and I could turn that thing complete circle.
Mhm.
I could come up, come down with it.
Okay.
The only thing I had to watch, I didn't shoot my tail off.
I was just gonna say, you're aiming directly in behind you, you'd shoot
Yeah.
the tail of that
You had to
airplane
be
off,
careful.
would you?
I come close a time or two.
Did you? Did that ever happen? Anybody ever do that?
I think it did a time or two, if I'm not mistaken.
Ruin your day, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Cherry Point, after that, where did you go?
We left Cherry Point. We flew to Atlanta, Georgia.
Mhm.
We flew to Jackson, Mississippi. We flew to Dallas, Texas. And we flew to Tucson, Arizona. Then we flew into San Diego, North Island Air Base, Marine Air Base, North Island Air in San Diego.
That's quite a trip.
Yeah, we flew from across country.
That'd be something. And you would land at each one of these places, and how long would you stay there?
Well, we refuel there,
Refuel.
get ready, and I can remember staying overnight in Atlanta,
Mhm.
in a hotel, and we must have stayed them other places too.
Okay.
Places for us to stay, maybe on the bases there someplace.
When did you get married? You say you were married when you were in the service.
My first wife,
Mhm.
June the 26th, 1945.
45,
Uh-huh.
just before you got out.
Yeah, just before I got out.
Was she from this area too?
She's from Friendship, her name was Dixon.
Okay.
She's from down Odell Creek, down Friendship.
Now, after you say to San Diego, is where you
Mhm.
went? What happened then?
Well, we done some more training out there, practicing training, and from there we shipped overseas.
How would you train? Would they take you up in the plane and
Yeah,
have targets to shoot at and things like that?
we had a target. I can remember back Cherry Point, maybe it's at North Island there, but there was a big target on the ground.
Mhm.
We had little smoke bombs. We would dive on that target, and he'd release some smoke bombs, and when he'd pull out, I have to tell him where he hit.
Mhm.
Couldn't see where he hit, so I'd tell him where he hit with his bomb.
That'd be quite an experience. This is a dive bomber then, isn't it?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
straight down, never a dull moment.
Well, I tell you,
And when you pull out of your dive, you pull 4 G's, 4 times the pull of gravity.
what'd that feel like you got on your body?
Well, I blacked out. You black out. You can't hardly keep from blacking out, but you're still aware of everything.
Mhm.
You just, I guess the blood drains out of your head to an extent, see.
How long would you be out?
Just temporary,
A couple seconds or a few
a few
seconds?
seconds, and then you come back to when you got leveled up a little bit.
How fast would you be going?
I'd say probably close to 300-400 miles an hour.
Gracious.
You know, there was a couple of boys in San Diego went up one day, and they were big boys. And they put it in a dive and see if they could pull it out. And they like to not got out of it.
Really?
They were skimming right across the top of the water.
It was
Got
close
pulled out.
there.
Real close.
I'd say maybe sometimes some did get out of it, maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, then, what happened? You were shipped overseas?
yeah.
Where did you go?
British Samoa.
British Samoa?
British Samoa, yeah.
Okay. How did you get there? Ship?
Ship, yeah.
And did you go to Pearl Harbor first?
No, never went to Pearl Harbor.
Straight to?
Yeah.
What would be the name of that port? Do you remember? I mean, you went to British Samoa.
Ifadi, as well as I can remember.
Ifadi.
Or something like that. It's been a long time ago.
Were your planes on the ship with you?
Yeah. We took them over on the ship with us.
It'd be a long voyage.
I think it took us 14 days to get
14
over,
days.
as well as I can remember.
How many people on that ship with you?
Oh, my. I don't know.
Was
We
it
had
crowded?
a squadron our squadron would have been 20 planes. on that.
Okay.
I don't know how many personnel were on it. It was a converted carrier.
Hmm.
It wasn't a regular carrier. It had been converted from a merchant ship.
Was it a British ship or an American ship?
I'd take it as American, I don't know.
Do you remember the name of it?
The Nassau.
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 Okay. How many ground crew would be assigned to one of these planes?
There was one, I know, was the head man over, took care of our ship. I guess 2 or 3.
2 or 3 per plane?
Yeah, most at the most.
Now, after you on your way over there, did you have to be careful for Japanese submarines and things like that? Did you? undergo
Well,
any
yeah, I think we
precautions?
went over, possibly in a convoy at one time.
Okay. How many times did you go back and forth on a ship across the Pacific?
I just went over and come back.
Twice.
Yeah.
Well, when you get to British Samoa, then what happened? Did you unload?
Well, we ran navigation problems. We had dive bombing tactics,
Mhm.
and we just had different training there. I know we had they came out with a 1,000-pound bomb one time. We could carry a 500-pound bomb in the middle and a 100-pound under each wing.
Okay.
And they came out with this 1,000-pound bomb one day, and we took it up to see how we could move. And they got to chasing tails, what they call chasing tails, one plane right after another,
Mhm.
going through the maneuvers. And they made a dive down and started to pull them out, and we like to not got out.
Mm.
We was coming real close to the top of the water the time we pulled out.
You had a 1,000-pound bomb.
1,000-pound bomb, yeah.
Did you ever have to drop that thing later? I mean, did you drop? What was usually what you dropped?
The 500.
500-pound
and
bombs.
2 100-pounds, yeah.
Eventually, then, did you stay in British Samoa all that
No.
time, or what happened?
Well, we spent a lot of time in British Samoa.
Did you go on any missions out of British Samoa?
No.
Okay, then where did you go?
I think we hit Hickman Field, Guadalcanal, and stayed there for a few days.
Okay.
And from there, we went up to what they call New Georgia, and then the Hebrides. And from there, we went to Bougainville.
Okay.
And from Bougainville was all of our combat mostly. And our target was Rabaul, on the upper end of New Britain.
Okay.
And Rabaul has a fish hook up on the top of it, just like that.
Mhm.
And the Japs had a lot of their shipping coming in there. And Rabaul was the second best harbor in the Pacific outside of Manila. And around this hook, they had 3 airfields. 1, 2, 3. 3 airfields.
Mhm.
And that was our mission to
Knock
destroy
out
them.
the-
Yeah.
So
And
how,
one was, they could really throw up the flag. The
Could they?
boats would be after you, and the guns from the airfields would be on you and everything.
did they send up airplanes after you too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They outnumbered us 4 to 1. We started over there.
That's when your job came important.
Yeah.
You say, was that most of the combat? When you were in Bougainville, that was friendly at that
Yeah.
time, wasn't
Now, at Bougainville, the Seabees went in. The Seabees were a pretty good bunch of boys.
it?
And they carved out a half moon on Bougainville. Bougainville was an island, I'd say, 100 miles long, maybe 20 miles wide. And they carved out a half moon. They put a bomber strip and a fighter strip in that half moon.
Mhm.
And they set up their front lines out here. There were 20,000 Japs on the rest of that island.
On the rest of the
On the
island.
rest of the island. But they were isolated. They couldn't get nothing in, they couldn't get nothing out.
Okay.
So they couldn't.
Did they pretty much starve then, as far as that?
Well,
goes?
they had gardens. We'd go up and try to destroy their gardens.
Store their gardens, store their cabbage.
Yeah.
What, I can picture that just for something, I mean, nothing to do, so you'd go up and destroy their gardens or
Yeah,
something? Well, how long were the Japanese on this island before you ran them off? I mean, your airfield,
I really don't know how long they were there.
your airfield was on the island too.
Yeah.
You share it with the
Yeah,
Japanese.
the Japs had it, and they had the rest of the island, and we had the half moon. And they did mount an offensive one time.
Mhm.
They got some guns in somehow or other, and they kept us pinned down for 2 days.
Is
We
that
didn't
right?
get a plane in or out. But when we did, why, we just sent one right after another up there.
So then Bougainville is your main operation for going after Revolve.
Yeah, right.
How many missions did you have to
Don't know, I could look at my logbook
Revolve?
there.
I was going to say, I was going to kind of get to that. This is a logbook that you had to keep,
Yeah.
isn't it? Okay. What do we mean by a logbook anyway? This is what?
This is a record of every flight we made.
Every flight.
And what the mission was.
Okay.
And,
Every person had a logbook.
yes,
right?
every person.
Okay.
Now, there's the identification of our different runs. Like here was all flying, approved by resident person, notion and duty. Now, E is familiarity, that's a practice run.
Mhm.
F is gunnery, that's a gunnery run. R is a torpedo. I is observation. J is scouting. We would scout a lot. K is technical. And that's
All the
the
way down.
abbreviations of all of
Now,
them.
some of these could be combined in the same mission, couldn't they?
Possibly, yeah. Emergency special flights, night flying. We've done a lot of night flying.
I bet that was
Communication.
tricky, was it?
Yeah, it's very scary up there. You can't see a whole lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I took a trip, went to Austria for an R&R.
Uh-huh.
And we stopped at New Caledonia. And when we left New Caledonia, I couldn't see the ground, I couldn't see the sky. It was all closed in until we got to Australia. Now you talk about an odd feeling. There's never a feeling like when you can't tell up and you can't tell down, except you know you're standing.
Okay. That would be a pretty good pilot then that would get you
Yeah.
through that, right?
Yeah. Well, they have their navigation charts and all that, and automatics and all that. Yeah.
So that they would watch their instruments and know when they're even or?
Yeah, yeah. They could tell them down.
Okay.
Now here's May of '43 to June.
Mhm.
Uh,
Now, what does this say? May 17th, type of what? Machine?
Type of machine.
Uh-huh. That would
Well,
be your...
that's SBD, that's the SBD-4.
Uh-huh. Number of machine. Okay, that's each machine, each
Yeah.
flight, each airplane had a number.
Yeah, right.
What's the
Duration.
duration of flight? An hour?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
an hour and 3 minutes, hour and 5.
Okay.
And now these are the keys. You have to go back here and look up the keys for them.
Well, let's see what that was. That's a K. Tactical.
Tactical.
What would that mean? Would that be a bombing run?
Well, could be, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tactical, yeah.
Okay. Pilot was Phillips. You were a passenger.
Yeah.
What's that mean?
Local. That's
Uh-huh.
local. Now that's at Atlanta Field, North Carolina.
Oh, Atlanta too. So this is while you were in the United States?
Yes,
Isn't it?
yeah, right.
Okay.
And this was all done in the United States.
Mhm.
And there was a different pilot. I had a different pilot every time I went up.
Okay, now let's get you over here to Samoa Islands. Right there, Samoa Island.
Now there was North Island, San Diego, California.
Mhm.
Here we went to Atlanta, Atlanta to Dallas, Dallas to Tucson, Tucson to San Diego.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, what is this thing here? Oh, that's a sales tax stamp. isn't it?
Yeah.
From Ohio. Okay, that's fascinating.
I say you want to go on over
Yeah,
here?
yeah. It's over
Okay.
here. Now here we are in the Samoa Islands.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now my pilot was Tom Crellin.
So
and
you
I
stuck
flew
with him.
all through the war.
Okay.
In fact, he's still living yet.
Is he?
Yeah.
Where is he?
In Hilton Head, North Carolina. Yeah.
You ever visit him?
Yeah, yeah. I had an experience one time.
What was that?
He lived around in California, Malibu,
Mm-hmm.
and he lived in an enclosed community. You went through the gate, you had to have a combination. So I knew where he lived. I had his address, and I went there, and I couldn't get through the gate.
Oh.
So I stayed there for a little bit and thought I'd see somebody inside let me in. The car drove up, and I asked this lady about getting in. She said, "Who do you want to see?" I said, "Tom Crellin." She says, "He's sitting right
Is that right?
here."
Beside her in the car.
That was a surprise.
Yeah, but it was. He knew who you were, of course,
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And he took you into his house?
Oh, yeah, we had a good visit.
Oh, that's good, that's pretty good. Well, when you went out on these missions, though, you're gone for a considerably longer period of time. Like this
Yeah.
is a 2-hour mission, a 3-hour mission, let's
Right.
see. Three.
Yeah.
Okay. And those training missions sometimes were an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Paul Air Force, that's Samoa.
Upala. Let's see what else we got here. I was just letting it look at the character of the flight. For example, that's a G, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a G, yeah.
Let's see what the, oh,
That's,
loose a little bit on the
yeah.
G would be dive bombing.
Yeah.
You were going out really
Dive
on a
bombing.
dive bombing.
Right, right.
He must have been a good pilot.
He was. He liked to live as well as I did, and that's what I liked.
Now, you don't want anybody who,
Some of those boys, I mean, were really
real
crazy
real
at times.
cowboys, huh?
They'd go down close to their targets they could get before they'd pull out. Be sure they got their bombs off.
here's a 4-hour mission.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 4 hours up to Rabaul.
Yeah, there it is, Rabaul and return.
Yeah.
4 hours. Yeah, there's 4.3 hours.
Yeah.
What was that one? Rabaul again,
Yeah.
and return.
Yeah.
Strike Rabaul. What is
Torquina. Torquina.
What is that?
That must have been the name of the town there,
Okay.
Rabaul.
There's 4.2 mission. Rabaul strike again.
Yeah.
You guys were really pounding Rabaul, weren't you? It
Oh,
was an
every day
important
that we
place.
could get up, we went up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
important place.
See, here's 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. And here's a 6th one here.
Oh, sure is. Where, a 6-hour mission? Where is that?
Right here.
Right there. There's a 6.5. Look
Yeah.
at that.
They
What
were,
would you feel like when
they
you...
were in, let's see what that was. Transportation of personnel,
Taking somebody somewhere.
evidently, yeah.
Well, there's only 2 of you in there.
Yeah, that's all.
Who else were you taking?
I
You're-
don't know.
He was
Maybe it
taking you somewhere.
We may have been transporting something, taking something someplace. I don't remember now.
Well, it looks like, let me see, 6.5, you went to...
Oh, that was a
Brisbane.
trip to Australia, yeah.
That's your R&R, you were
Yeah, we
transporting
went
yourself?
over on a DC-3 to Australia,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That's right, look here, here's a different type of plane.
Yeah.
R4D.
DR4D, yeah.
What is that, a DC-3?
I think it's the same, about the same thing
Okay.
as a DC-3, yeah.
Well, that's worth a 6-hour trip,
Yeah.
That's interesting.
March of 44.
What is this?
We were-
You were at another field now?
Yeah, Bobber Field, Ifadi. And Ocean Field, Green Island. Now something happened to Green Island. Let's see if I can find it. It happened, it's pretty sure on Green Island.
There's a Strike Cafe, Nama Voodoo, something like
Right here, I think it is.
that. Crash landing, no wheels.
We got shot up.
You did?
Our hydraulic system got shot out.
Okay, and that
And
was
when
on the 11th?
Yeah, when we came back to land, one wheel came down, the other one wouldn't come down.
Oh.
So we was up there and we called into the base and asked them what to do. And they said, well, you can put it down in the water out there and we'll come get you, or you can try and bring it in, land on one wheel. So him and I decided to bring it in and try the one wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And he made a perfect landing.
On one wheel.
But it gave away.
Uh-huh.
And the runways were coral at that time. And I can remember in between my legs, that coral, the plane was scooping that coral up, and it was coming up between my legs.
Really?
And we got out of that plane just as fast as we could.
Did it catch on fire?
No, it didn't catch on fire. He was lucky.
He is a good pilot.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got shot up when you were where? Bow rod, guns.
Boar rope, rope, yeah, something like that.
Would that have been another plane or flak or?
No, I don't know what that is. B-O-K-O, don't remember.
Here's where you strike Khalili.
Yeah.
Khalili.
Now here we used to, towards the end, the Japs never mounted much
Mhm.
towards the end there. So we could pick our target that we wanted to hit, target of opportunity.
Mhm.
We could just pick one out.
Like even a ship or something
Yeah,
like that?
yeah.
Sampan or
Yeah.
something? Grove Field, where's Grove Field?
Oak Grove Field, that's in North Carolina, I'm thinking. We got back from overseas.
95, or I mean,
Yeah.
45. Yep, you must be back home now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting.
And all these hours that I had in the air was all notarized. There I had 445 hours in the air.
Combat missions.
Yeah.
Well, some of them you were going on R&R.
Wasn't all combat, yeah.
R&R to
Yeah.
Australia.
Right. Yeah, I had around 600 hours in the air, I think. Or some more. I must have put them in there years ago.
Could I have one of those?
Yeah, you're welcome to. Yeah, you can have one.
I remember when we used to have to get those whenever we bought something.
Yeah.
Well-
Well, I teamed up with another pilot after
Mhm.
I come back.
Now, here are a bunch of names, different
Yeah,
fellows.
had different ones. Now, when I came back from overseas, we done a little training here, and I was scheduled to go into China in September
Mhm.
of '45. Some of my old buddies had already left and went back into China.
Mhm.
And at that time, they were figuring on taking Japan from China.
Mhm.
And that's the reason we were going. And that thing ended in August.
Lucky
And I was
you.
due to go in September.
Glad to see that happen.
Yeah.
So you didn't go back to the Pacific then after that?
No,
is that right?
no, I didn't go back. Yeah, that was in North Carolina, Oak Grove. Glide bombing. Now, that's a little different, glide bombing. Glide, you go in, like this.
How many times were you shot up
Just at one time.
at one time?
Yeah, that was all.
You didn't get wounded, did you?
No.
Did your pilot get wounded?
No, lucky.
Yeah. Now, were you ever attacked by airplanes, by Japanese planes?
Oh, yeah, I don't know as we personally were attacked by any Japanese planes.
Okay,
I remember the first Zero I ever saw.
really?
I was looking up here, and I seen this Zero up here. And I just sat there and watched him. And he made a dive right through a bomber squadron.
Really?
He came straight down, and when he got underneath us, he turned that thing and come straight back up. I couldn't believe it. I just sat there and watched him.
Wow. Did you ever fire your guns at any
Yeah.
enemy planes?
Yeah, I fired my guns once in a while. We caught a boat out in the bay one day there. Pilot let me know it was coming up. I got a shot at them.
Okay.
Fired a few times, and then we caught a convoy on the road there one time. Took a pass on them.
Okay. You were over there for several months, weren't you? Were you over
Yeah.
there a year or more, or
Probably close to a year,
about a year?
somewhere
Okay.
in there, yeah.
Okay. What was it like? Was it hot over there? Was it?
Yeah,
very
it was hot.
miserable?
Pretty rough, yeah. Do you want to see any more?
Well, yeah, just this front part here is a little loose on the binding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all flights had to be authorized, you know.
You got your flight clothing record
Yeah.
here,
That's flight clothing.
when it was issued. Okay.
I'll tell you another little story.
All right.
I was watching a P-40 one day.
P-40 is a
New
Tomahawk,
Zealand.
isn't it?
No, it's fight tigers.
Air Cobra.
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
P-40.
okay, P-40.
It's a P-40, Flying Tiger.
Flying Tiger.
And I was looking at him, and there were 3 Japs on his tail. He was shooting him all to pieces. And this is hard to believe, but he come on the air, and he said, "Boys, come on down and help me out." I got 3 of them cornered down, and they were just shooting him to pieces. He went right on in the water.
He did.
Yeah.
That was the end of it.
Yeah.
He said,
And
"Come
I
down,
seen
help
him.
me, I got 3 of them cornered."
that was mine.
Pretty brave, wasn't he?
Tokyo Rose, I used to listen to her all the time.
You know, she was, ended up in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah,
Did you hear about that?
I didn't hear about it, but I knew she was in the States here somewhere.
It's Tokyo Rose, you
Yeah.
used to listen to her, huh?
Yeah.
Liked her music, but good
I
music.
know she talked back and forth to the fighter squadrons. You see,
She would talk back and forth.
Uh-huh,
Would the fighter squadrons talk to her?
yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, they talked.
The Americans.
Yeah, she said, "Boys, I'm right here at this certain spot, come on down and get me." And they'd come back and say, "Well, we're up here, you come on up." And how'd they you say, "Old Lady Roosevelt eats seaweed," or something like that. They used to say
Eleanor,
that.
who said that?
Tokyo Rose.
Eats
And she said,
seaweed.
"Boys, you don't have a chance, you might as well give up." Yeah, all that went on. Now, you know who the fighter pilot was that I flew in?
No,
Patrick Boyd.
is that right?
That's right.
What
He
do
was
you
our
mean?
fighter cover.
He was your fighter cover?
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
now he's the black sheep.
Yeah, he's a
Patrick
blah,
Boyd.
blah, black sheep.
Yeah. And did you ever see him and talk to him?
Not
or
personally, no,
anything like
talk to
that?
him, no.
So while
I
you
just
were
knew
out,
he was there, yeah.
out on a bombing run,
Yeah.
they would have fighter cover above you.
They had the fighter cover.
That was
above.
his squad.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that was Patrick Boyd.
Did you ever see anybody famous while you were in the service, like movie stars, USL?
Well, Bob Hope.
You saw Bob
Oh,
Hope?
yeah, he came overseas.
Did he?
And, Carol Lombard and,
Carol Lombard.
I forget the guy that was with him. He's real known, I can't think of his name.
Yeah. Did you ever see any famous admirals or generals? Ever see MacArthur?
No, never seen MacArthur. No, I've never seen any of them that I know of.
Did you ever see Eleanor? She made a trip to the
No,
South
never seen
Pacific.
MacArthur.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of this guy's name. I can't think of it. It came over at Carol Lombard. And I think she was killed in a plane wreck or something. She married Clark Gable, for those I
Ernie
remember.
Kovacs. Did you see him?
Ernie Kovacs, no.
Did he come with Carol? I'm just
No.
trying to think. Okay. But did you keep in touch with a lot of your friends that you made in the service? You visited your
For
pilot?
a long time I didn't.
Did
but,
you?
But we have a reunion every year now.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got one coming up in September in New Orleans.
In New Orleans. Are you going to go?
Yeah, as far as I know. I went to one, they had one in Lancaster, Ohio one year. I went to that one.
Lancaster where?
Ohio.
Ohio?
Yeah.
Okay.
They had their reunion up there, and they had one in Michigan, Kalamazoo. They had
Mhm.
one in Kalamazoo. They had one in San Diego. No, I didn't get to that one. And had one at Branson, Missouri.
Did you go there?
Yeah, I went there.
You had a lot of fun there, didn't you?
That was a good time there,
And what was the name of your squadron? What number or what?
VMSB 341.
VMS
VMSB.
SB
Yeah.
341.
341. Yeah.
Did you have a nickname?
Well, it was a nickname, it was a turtle.
The Turtle.
Yeah. The SBD was noted for its slowness. It wasn't a fast plane,
All right.
but it was a rugged plane. It'd take a lot of beating. Yeah.
What'd you do with your uniform?
I don't know. You got lost in the shuffle.
But you do have your medals somewhere in there. You
Somewhere.
haven't been able to find them yet, have you? But
Yeah.
okay, but they're somewhere in the house here.
Yeah. And I haven't got all my medals. I probably ought to send and get some.
Okay, let's see. What
Now
do you
there,
have there? Let me see.
where was it there? Somewhere down
Where
here.
would this be? Where would this be? Participated in the consolidation, Northern Solomon Islands, the Bismarck Archipelago operation, and the Gilbert Islands operation. You served in the Central and Southwest Pacific area from the 25th of September 1943 to 18 October 1944. You were there a year.
Yeah.
You were there over a year.
Yeah, over here, yeah.
Yeah. And you, let's see, you got, they would tell I thought they told the medals that you got here.
They do, down there someplace.
Talks about where you got your, issued 2 patches and a khaki
Yeah.
certificate of satisfactory service.
Of course, those areas there, you had a medal for those areas.
Uh-huh. Okay. Very good. This says you enlisted in Cincinnati, so you were at Wright-Patterson at the time, Patterson Airfield,
Mhm.
when you decided to go in?
Yeah.
And did you go down by yourself, or did you go to Cincinnati?
Yeah, I went to
enlist?
Cincinnati by myself.
You did?
From Cincinnati, I went to Paris Island.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What'd your folks think when you joined up?
Well, they hated to see me go. That's about all I can tell you.
Something that a lot of people were doing then, though.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
right, that was the thing.
Um,
That's the citizenship. Rank, time as a sergeant, aviation temporary, weapons qualification, marksman.
mhm.
December 42 qualified, radio gunner. Service, sea and foreign, Central and Southwest Pacific area, 25th September to the 18th of October.
What is this now? This is something about your,
Well, that
a
is.
newsletter that keeps
Yeah.
you
They
in
send
touch
a
with?
newsletter, and that's the plane that we flew, as far as I can see. And that, there's the plane that flew.
Mhm. Okay.
And then I showed you in the back about,
Right.
about those holes, and diving flaps.
Mm-hmm.
And this plane was flyable.
That plane right there, is
Yeah.
that the plane that you were
Yeah.
in?
Yeah.
Where would the guns be there?
They're stored. They go back in here. They're stored. When you're not using them, you can put them back in there.
Okay. Then you must have some kind of a gun mount in this
Yeah.
area. Did you take off the canopy there, or what?
When we flew, I think we opened the canopy when we were flying.
Okay.
And the pilots had 250 calibers in the front.
Oh, I see.
That I never could really understand that, where they could synchronize them things to far through that propeller.
They have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you like the service?
Well, I was scared.
Scared a lot?
Scared a lot.
It would scare me.
Yeah, when I first went overseas, we hit New Georgia. And we'd never been in combat or nothing. And supposedly the area was secure. And we had our tents on the hillside overlooking 2 airfields there. And we went to sleep that night. And then sometime around 3 or 4 in the morning, I heard a boom, 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 boom. And we come out of a deep sleep, Run out of our tents. There was no foxholes to get in or nothing. We was scared to death.
Mm-hmm.
But the Japs had followed our planes back from a raid up north, and they hit our airfield there that night.
Mm-hmm. That's what they were
And
bombing there.
Boom, 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 yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
And they just tore it all to pieces.
How long did it take you to get it back in operation?
CB's had it done, but time was ready to fly next day.
Is that
They
right?
were in there and had things fixed up. Yeah,
That was great,
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah. I can remember another time in Bougainville, a Jap plane come right up over and flew right over our tents. And he was real low, and we heard that bomb take off. And man, we got out of them places. Our foxholes was half full of water. It didn't make any difference. We just plowed right in them.
What do you mean you heard the bomb take off?
Well, you could hear him when he released that bomb.
You could hear the
yeah.
sound of the bomb being
Evidently,
released.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we knew he had
And
he'd
you
released a bomb.
you hit a foxhole full of
Yeah. And we
water.
were close to the airfields there, and they hit the airfields at that time.
Did you see the plane? Did you see the plane?
No, didn't see the plane. Now, they had another plane. The Japs sent over every night about midnight or 1 o'clock. And we called him Washing Machine Charlie. And they sent him over just to aggravate us. He would come over and never do anything. He'd just fly over over top of us there.
Where did the word washing machine come from?
I don't know. We just called him Washing Machine Charlie. I don't remember.
And did it keep you up?
Yeah, kept us up. We
It
never
worked.
knew when he was. And you know, they had the spotlights on him. You could see him in the spotlights.
Mm-hmm.
Why they never could get him, I don't know. Never did send anybody up after him, I don't guess. That looks like they would have, but
Looks like they would have, but now you end up back in the United States thinking that you're gonna end up going back to China, but the war ends.
Yeah.
When the war ended, do you remember what you were doing when they said that they dropped the bomb? Remember where you were?
Not really. I had to be down in service, I guess, there at the
North Carolina?
Oak Grove, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, what did you do then? I mean, the war's over and...
well, we done a lot of practicing,
Mhm.
a lot of dive bombing runs and things like that.
Okay.
And then I was married in
Yeah.
June, and you know I had 52 years of my first wife.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Was she there with you down in
Yeah,
North Carolina
yeah.
at that time?
Yeah, we stayed in New Bern.
New Bern.
Had an apartment down there,
Have you ever been back to Cherry Point and
yeah.
Paris
Yeah,
Island?
I've been back. It's
Different?
it's not the same.
It's not bad.
When we were down there, they were nothing between Cherry Point and New Bern, North Carolina. It's just sort of a wilderness.
Mhm.
Today, there's nothing but business after business out there. Houses.
Strip malls and things
Yeah,
like that?
the Marine base is bigger. I didn't recognize nothing.
Nothing at all?
No.
Just the name?
Just the name. Yeah.
Well, you were discharged, when you were discharged in November, was that at Morton Grove?
Evidently, it was at Oak Grove there.
Oak Grove, I mean.
Yeah, where I got discharged.
Did you, what'd you do? Get on a train, come home?
No, I found my way to Washington D.C.
What
Me
about-
and
what-
another boy or two, I think.
Okay. You thumbed to Washington DC, what, did you meet
Yeah.
your wife up there then too, or what?
No, I don't know.
Don't know what
I
happened.
don't remember. She was back home at that time.
Okay.
Because I was probably getting ready to ship overseas, as well as I can remember.
Why did you go to Washington?
I don't know. Seemed like that was on the way home or something.
Just never been there before.
And we'd never been there before. I don't even know what happened after that.
Okay. So you must have come home. Did you settle down in this area at first?
No, I settled down in Dayton.
Dayton, Patterson up
Yeah,
there?
and I got my old job back, see.
Machinist?
Yeah, machinist.
Okay.
And you know, back during the war, there was nothing permanent. In other words, anything that happened during the war was war service appointment, just during it for the duration.
Mm-hmm.
So when the war ended, they give a test for the machinist, which I took it and passed it. Had a good grade, I think 86 or 87. And our department, well anyway, our department didn't put through the papers on me to get me on permanent civil service. So they laid me off. They come along with a layoff, and all the war service appointments were laid off.
Mhm.
Well, I took that test, that was in October, and I had a good friend that was in insurance, and I got started in insurance. And they sent me a letter then, the first of the year, to come back to work. You can have your appointment, your permanent appointment. And I told them to go fly a kite.
Go fly a
Because
kite.
that time I went plumb to head of civil service, I think, trying to hold my job in that war service appointment, and the layoffs came.
How long did you stay in the insurance business?
Well, I was trying to think, in October, I was probably in the insurance business 4 or 5 years, something like that. And then I got dissatisfied with it, and I moved back to Portsmouth, still in insurance. And one day I just walked in the office and I said, I'm done, I've had it, I quit.
Who was your boss?
I don't even remember who the boss was. And I said, Monday morning I'm gonna start and I'm gonna go to get me a job. So the first place I hit was Pepsi. And that's where I stayed.
You didn't become frustrated with that then, did you?
No, I enjoyed that.
What did you do at Pepsi?
Well, to start with, I run the routes. I delivered Pepsi to groceries. And then I became a route manager.
Did you happen to save, collect any of the bottles?
No. One time I had a bunch of red bottles.
Red bottles?
The red bottles when they run the turnips back in '75.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, that would have been something.
Yeah,
So you were there a long time then?
36 years.
You retired from there, didn't you?
I retired from there, yeah.
Did you bring back any souvenirs from the Pacific? Anything of that nature? You brought back some pictures
Yeah,
of this?
logbook, these pictures here. Now these were, as far as I can remember, were taken on Bougainville. Most of these pictures were. Here was my first wife now, right there.
See? Looks like Connie, don't she?
Yeah, she favors Connie, she sure does, yeah. Yeah, she sure does.
What is this? Is this a picture?
No, that's just the one I keep my discharge in.
Oh, okay.
Between those two sheets.
Good. Wrinkled up. Gene, is there anything else you'd like to say, talk about?
Well, I really don't know.
Is it one of those things you're glad you did, but you wouldn't want to do it over?
Wouldn't want to do it over right.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I went for years looking for that SBD and I never could find one.
Really?
And then I went to Texas and I went to the Confederate Air Force one day and there I found one.
Is that?
That's the one that's got the picture there.
They take good care of their planes, don't
Oh, yeah.
they? I saw they had a B-17 out here.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the old planes will take
I
you
went out to see that.
Yeah, they redo them and keep them flying, good shape flying.
Okay. Well, thanks.
Uh,
Thanks a lot.
Well, I was gonna tell you,
Yeah?
see, what was my thought right now?
Well,
The reason I was in Texas, I took a little Christian paper one time, and it had a notation in there of one retired Christian couples to come down and work in a Christian ministry.
Mhm.
So it hit me and my wife both for some reason or other. I was still working, and we decided to take a vacation, go down and check it out. So I went down and checked it out. And I run into another couple there. They're still good friends with us. And we decided to get us a lot down there.
To get you a lot?
Get a lot.
What part of Texas was that?
Mission.
Mission,
Yeah.
Texas.
So I bought a lot, my friend bought a lot, and we've still got it. I've got 16 citrus trees on my lot.
Oh, really? What do you do with it?
I bring them back and give them away.
You go down, pick them, and
And
bring them back?
they are delicious.
Is that right?
Get them off the trees. And
But
then,
are they oranges, or what are they?
oranges, grapefruits, lemons, limes. I've got a lemon down there, big as a grapefruit, called a Ponderosa lemon.
Ponderosa, that's right, okay.
And so we went down there, and then I retired in '89. And then in, I think '91, there was a group of people come into the camp there, and they done work,
Mhm.
Christian people. And we got acquainted with them and what they was doing, so we decided to join.
Mhm.
So we joined, it's called the SOARS, Servants on Wheels Ever Ready. We joined in 92, and then we worked up till my wife died in 97. And I've been from one end of this country to the other,
Working with this group?
working with the SOARS and Christian campgrounds,
what do
whatever
you
they
do?
want done.
Oh, what?
Manual labor,
Okay.
roofing, plumbing, electric, if we can do it, why we do it.
It's interesting. Where are you going next then to do?
Well, since I married this wife,
Mhm.
she don't like to travel too well, so
Okay.
I haven't
been-
made any trips.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Well, not really.
Okay. Well, I want to shake your hand again then.
Okay.
And thanks for everything you did.
Oh, that's all right.
All
Yeah.
right.